Hi guys, welcome to another Code Jam. I'm super excited. Hi Oliver, how's it been?
How are you, Melody? I'm good. I'm good. It's been a while here.
Yeah, it's been a crazy while. I think we've been building a lot and doing a lot of things. So I'm super
Yeah.
excited to have the jam today. Like I was
Yeah.
so excited that I woke up at 4 a.m. and I just stood up from 4 a.m.
Yeah.
watching
Yeah, me
time.
too. You can see my goggles. Like I can see better with these. Do you think so? You can see my goggles.
Yeah,
I'm already ready for Monday. Getting ready and
that's
jumping.
cool. Merry Xmas. Merry Xmas.
Merry Christmas, eh?
Okay. Today's jam is very interesting. It's something that I think I hold well to heart, and I think it's an interesting topic. Like it's very inclusive and very interesting, and we are super excited to have this discussion with everyone. So we have the tech journey, right? Very generic. Let's see what it's all about, right? So I'm going to hand off to Oliver to run us through the idea of the tech journey and move the slides along. So,
Okay. So I think today's talk is non-technical, so it's very inclusive. If you're not technical or you're looking to be technical someday, we're just going to be talking about more around like how to get in, how to stay afloat, and all that. So before we even go in, I'd like Melody to like share with us like um just give us like an idea into like what the experience has been for you at least before now, like what do you think the tech journey means? Like, what is the tech journey?
okay, that's nice. For me, I think if I hear the tech journey, it's for me, it means the journey so far for me, right?
Okay.
The journey I've had. And I've had some awesome moments, awesome memories, why, during my tech career, and those moments have attributed to where I am now. It's
Okay.
not always been, a roller coaster of happiness. There have been
Okay.
very sad moments, but I
Yeah.
think those are what attributed to these very moments. And some
Yeah.
of those experiences we share together because
Yeah.
we've been like buddies for a very long time. So yeah,
Yeah.
that would
Cool.
be it for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Me as well. Like, we're both during this talk, we're both looking at what the process was for us. And then we're now saying, okay, we think this is how you can go about it. All right. Giving you a heads up on what to expect and what it's actually made up of, like, okay, series of things to avoid and not so things to do and all that. So without wasting much of our time, let's just jump into the slides. First of all, what we're discussing today is the tech journey, looking at how you can traverse your way into tech and all that, and still stay afloat. So
Mhm.
first of all, we'll outline our agenda. So the first thing we'll be looking at is going from 0 to 1, which is the hardest part. 0 to 1 here, I mean, going from a total beginner who has no idea or anything about tech, and then coming up to become someone who has a domain in tech or a career in tech. All right, we'll look at opportunities in tech, and we'll also look at where to learn, also look at what to expect in 2024. Also, within this period, we'll be discussing our own stories, what we did and what worked for us, what failed us as well. All right. So let's start. Before we start the talk, let's look at a quote. It says, "Success is a sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out." So sometimes people just they want to get to the top. They forget that getting to the top involves some series of small steps. You need to take those small steps. All right. So it's a product of those small steps that takes you towards the top. All right. So that's what this quote is saying. Success is a sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. This quote is also emphasizing something very important called consistency. Okay. So
Yep.
we'll go in. So 0 to 1 now. We're looking at some things. When you look at 0 to 1, what are some things that happens? All right. So Melody and I we're going to be discussing these things as it relates what he thinks these things are, how they were helpful to him, and all that. So the first one is networking. Um, so for me, networking actually was very important because what you see there is network, right? The network I mean here is getting connecting with people, asking questions, going to the community, seeing what's going on. So that's the network I'm referring to, or we're referring to rather. So when you network, it opens up your ideas, mind opens up, it enables you connect with people, understand what people are actually doing, all right, and also seek help as well. As you're growing, you need people to grow, all right. So that's what I think. I'll leave it for Melody to like explain what he thinks about networking as well.
Yeah. So for me, networking is, as Kelechi has said, connecting with people, and this is very crucial, right? And there are different ways we could do this. Right? You could physically go out to events and all that, meet people, connect with them,
Yep.
say hi, how's it been, share contacts and all that. You could equally network on online platforms, right?
Yep.
I do that a lot. Like I have a lot of persons in my life that are good friends that I've never seen before.
Yep.
We've never hung out before. So I think networking is very crucial, and it definitely would lead to your growth in any tech career. Because for the
Yep.
most part, your first gigs and all that are going to be, coming from your network, your friends, those people, persons that have seen you, that believe in your work, that see you struggle every day, and are like, okay, let me give you this shot. I need an extra hand. So networking is very crucial in, getting started in tech, and of course the tech growth.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. So the next one is also your motivation. I don't know, Melody, what's your motivation? What motivates you to keep, moving? Because at this stage, at zero stage, you need a lot of it to keep moving. You at that point, you have no money, obviously,
Yeah.
at least from the career itself. You have few persons. All right. So what keeps you, going, trying to, get in or trying to start something?
So when I started software engineering, I think I wasn't really fully like, I didn't have this big dream of one day I'm going to become, a software engineer that writes codes and all that. My
Mm,
dream was, my motivation was I wanted to be good. Like I just
okay.
want to be very good in this. Like if you call me in this language, I could write you the language back to front, like in
Okay.
that crazy way. So that was my motivation, right? And
Okay.
that assisted to driving me to learning different things and learning different concepts, very in
Wow.
depth, right?
Wow.
And of
Cool.
course, a lot of persons have their own different motivations, right? There
Yeah.
are
Some
persons who are
persons could be
motivated by
money.
different things. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think money I think money is always the wrong motivation because
Oh,
it's
okay.
something you don't get in the first 3 months or 4 months
Yeah.
or even 1 year,
Even a year.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a year, 2 years, sometimes you've not started
Yeah.
making money. So if
Yeah.
you go in with the mindset of, well, I want to start making money,
Mm,
there's every good chance that you'll be disappointed way faster,
yeah.
right? So probably find some other motivation that might help. Well, but who am I to tell you all these things, right?
All right, for me, I can relate to that. Like, I think for me, it was actually I was more fascinated, or rather, I would say I was motivated in a way because I was looking up to the things I could build. So when I started, there was this like this guy called Bob Terba. He was, I think, we were building something with Windows Form around Windows ecosystem and all that, and it was so cool. I always imagine these games I'm playing, these desktop apps I'm using, how are they built? So I wanted to see, I wanted to get to that point where I'm able to build them. So that kept me, trying to seek out ways to build them and try those things out. So yeah, so that's it. Then the next one, consistency. So I can say for consistency is very important in everything you do. Even though you're a keyboardist, you're a cyclist, whatever you're doing, like maybe you're a footballer, you want to stay consistent. So even in tech, consistency is key. The right consistency, because I see that some persons are consistent in the tech ecospace, but they are doing several things and trying to be, trying to handle so much. You would see that, oh, they are doing Flutter today, and the next 1 month they're trying to learn Laravel, and they're trying to do. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say trying out your hands on different things is wrong. It's just that you have to find a balance, like have a balance, so that when you get to that point where someone is like, "Oh, I need your service," there's something specific you do. All right. So I'll just explain learning and resilience, and Melody will explain learning and resilience as well. So learning for me is very important. You have to learn. It's not You're not the one that built writes the framework you're using. You're not the one that created them. You're just using an existing library. So you have to learn several things, learn and learn and learn. And when learning, you include the aspect of building projects. And then the final one is resilience. I would say it's just the ability to keep going even when sometimes it seems like you're not really you're not being paid. You're doing, let's say you're doing freelance project, sorry, you're doing voluntary work, you're not being paid, or maybe somebody's, or you're kind of in a position where somebody is putting pressure on you or something like that. You have to be able to be resilient as well, so that this all these things put together helps you move from that initial stage, and before you know it, you get to the next stage where now you know that you're comfortable, you have a career, and then you can proceed on.
Yeah. So I think consistency. It reminds me of Kelechi. I think some 5 years ago or thereabouts. Kelechi has started his DevOps career, and then he told me that, Chief, I see people doing crazy things with DevOps, right? I want to be this good. And the consistency is that he was able to keep up with learning every day. Like, I mean, every day. There are times where, there are very boring things are easy to overlook, right? But I see sometimes, I see Kelechi sometimes practicing those things, trying to get a hang of all those small things and, try not to skip a step. There are things you'll be like, I think I know this. Let me skip it. For instance, if you're looking at learning GraphQL, you might get to a point where you're like, you know what? I just want to build a chat app. I don't care about how the GraphQL works. I want to build a chat app, right? But I think consistency implies that you don't just keep into building very mighty, crazy projects. Of course, you want to. Of course, that is where you're headed to. But you have to start with learning the underlying architectures, infrastructures, and underlying or working of those things. For instance, there's something called, federation in GraphQL. There's mutation. There's GraphQL schemas and all that. What does this mean? How
Yeah,
does GraphQL under the hood compose REST to
yeah,
become what it is by GraphQL? What problems does GraphQL solve? Those are those questions you need to answer, and that's what implies consistency, and that's what makes you good in the later on. If you skip all these steps, you still have to come back to them because knowledge
yeah,
doesn't fly in heaven, right? It doesn't just fly and enter your head, right? You have to get these at some point. So when you skip them, 3, 4 years, 5 years, you could be 10 years into the system, and you see that you don't really know much because there are a lot of steps you've skipped, right? So it's always better you learn these things. Over time, you accumulate more knowledge. When you learn higher things, when you learn, when you get deeper knowledge, you can relate them to those smaller things you've learned. Okay, this is where this implies. Okay, this is how this is done, and all that, right? And of course, that explains learning. Learning is crucial, right? You don't get knowledge from heaven. Like it doesn't just nobody's blessed with the gift of knowledge. Like you're blessed,
yeah,
and you must know everything without learning. You have to learn and you have to be resilient in what you do. Like,
yeah,
practice often, right? There are times where you don't feel like it. There are times where you're tired, like Lechi said, especially when you're not paid, right? There are times where you're like crazy tired, you're fatigued. At night, you just want to sleep, right? Sometime in the morning, your friends are hanging out, you just want to hang out with them. But at learning and becoming very good at something, you have to deprive yourself of a certain form in certain phase to get one. You can be hot and cold at the same time, right?
yeah.
So you know when to give it up.
Yeah. So that's it for this. So we'll just move on to the next one. So this is now the part, one of the main parts here. We get to share with you what was our challenges, what was our motivation. We've already spoken a bit about this and also the results we got. So I would allow Melody go through in the next a minute, talk about first of all his how he started his challenges, giving us his motivation and what was the result.
Okay, it's going to be, I think, probably an interesting or funny story. But
Yeah.
when I started software engineering and the tech career, I think my major challenge was lack of money in fund, right?
Mm.
There was no money to get anything, not even a
Yeah.
good laptop. So laptop was a struggle, right? Electricity was a struggle, and even data was a struggle because there was no
Yeah.
money. You have to pay for all these things, right?
Yeah.
So the challenge it was very tough because I had to outsource these things in any way possible. So I had times, I think I started in the back in school. So I had times where I had to stay back in school with, my friends, Kalechi involved, and we had to stay back up till 10 p.m., sometimes 11 p.m. And because my apartment was quite closer to the school, sometimes I stay all the way till the next day. So it was that I was facing the no money challenge. There were days where I was facing a personal depression, right? Thinking about my life. What am I exactly doing with my life and all that, right? So it was a lot to take in at the time, right? But my motivation was I just wanted to be good, right? I want to know these things. And Kelechi mentioned Bob Tebo. Bob Tebo was a very inspiring person. He was, I think, in his 60s or thereabouts. He was very good. So when we saw these videos of Bob Tebo and the likes of Bob Tebo and all that,
On
it
GL6.
inspired. Yeah, and just it inspired me, right? I was like I want to be as good as Bob Table, right? Bob Table was like, okay, he's my savior. Let's just leave the conversation at that. So I wanted to be that good, right?
Yeah.
So I practiced. I was fascinated about technology. How the system works under the hood, right? So I think that was my crazy motivation, and that motivation resulted to exactly where I am today. I
Yeah.
think over the years I'm doing way better than I was. I don't have some of the challenges I used to have. I think right now electricity is not always my problem. Data is not my problem at the time now. So I've been able to solve a lot of these issues that I used to have. That used to be a major concern for me right now.
Yeah.
So I think all the end, it's a good result, and I'm in a better place, I would say. So yeah,
Wow, that's super cool. I can relate to all Melody has said because I still remember we started like so we were in school together and we had a lot. You see the things he mentioned from good working laptop to data to power. So was a major problem, right? So we're in school and still we still had school schedules to work on like school tasks and all that. But we're more focused on. I think the major thing was not. We're not even discussing how we'd make money if we get a good paying job or all that. What we're more interested in, we wanted to like okay, can you build? How can I build this application? How can I build this thing? Right? We would
yeah,
come together and say, okay, let's try to build it. Let's work together and try to build it. When Melody is learning a particular language, I would go look at what he's doing and say, wow, this guy is learning something new. I'll go back and learn. So the way I managed to do it, given the fact that I was based in Nigeria, was I managed to get. I think my dad laptop. He had this very gigantic laptop, 4 gig of RAM. The first day I brought it to
yeah,
school, so I could use it install from some programs from Melody. The laptop, that was the screen. Half of the screen went up like blank somehow because of the
yeah.
lecturer. Was just explaining stuff and use his hand on the laptop. So that was it. I was so a bit discouraged because I just got this laptop and I just wanted to start. But that didn't stop me. I used that laptop, the half screen laptop, and I installed Visual Studio. Visual Studio is different from Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio is quite heavy. So I installed
Yeah,
it and I started using it. I think it was after installing it at that point, Melody also tried installing it. That broke his own laptop. Well, yeah, so that was it. So the challenge was there, which was the normal challenge everyone would face. It was data, it was a good working laptop because some things while watching the videos, some things that you could see, you would try to maybe follow Bob Teba's video and just 6 video, and you want to install a package your laptop cannot carry, so you need to find a way to do it. All right, so that was it. Good working laptop. Now internet data. So what we do is because we needed to download a lot of videos and all that, would have to do something called night plan, subscribe night plan, so that during the night the service provider, the cost of data is less, so pay less, and then would download the videos we want, then would watch them during the day and practice. So that was the thing. That was the thing. So we needed to work in harmony. That is when I bring a video, you watch it, you watch, we all come and we talk about it. What are you learning? I'm learning this and that. That was it. So I knew that for me to actually move forward, I needed to surround myself with people of like mindsets, like people that has the same mindset. I wouldn't see me trying to debug something or trying to build something and say, "Oh, let's go play football." That was the major thing. I had to surround myself both in school and outside school with people of like-minded, and this helped me. All right, so that was the thing Melody explained, which was power, working laptop and internet was the challenge, and the motivation was just the um, the um, the passion and the interest to actually build stuff, solve problem. All right. So I remember back in school we had several projects we worked on, which was around robotics. Using a couple of microcontrollers to build stuff. That was me. I could stay with you. We could stay with you till night, like as far back till the next morning, trying to build maybe a microcontroller, trying to build something amazing. So that's it. That was the interest. We never had the idea of, oh, tech is actually tech is a source of good money, or it's the next oil or something like that, as something as somebody else to say, or some people are now saying, right? So that was the motivation, and the result now, as Melody has also said, is we're at the point where we're just, it's like you're swimming, you're in a river and you're trying to make your take yourself up out of the river, take your head out. So we're at the point where we're just doing water trading to stay afloat. We're no longer trying to bring our head out. So right now it's just all about maybe working and trying to improve ourselves. So that's the result. You get to that place, that point where you're stable. At least you can find a way to get, maybe data is no longer your problem, power is no longer your problem, because right now you're already providing value for some entity. It could be a company, it could be a freelance job. You're providing value, and those as you're providing value, the company will pay you something in return, which you would use, right? And still you're still achieving your career as a person, or you're still doing other things on the side as a person. So I think that's it. The challenges we've explained, the motivation and the result, which is the fact that, okay, we are this comfortable position where we're now not really bothered about the things that were our challenges, and now we're looking up to the future. We're looking at what can we build, how can we help other persons who are coming up, how can we contribute to the community as well. So that's it. That's the story. All right. So
Yeah.
I believe with these things we've shared, I don't know, someone could pick something out to just know that, look, the fact that you're having some challenges doesn't mean it's not just about you. So it also happens to some other person. So use that, and then put in the work, put in the persistence, the consistency, be resilient, and you'll see that you get some results. You surely get the results once you keep doing something over and over.
Yeah. Yeah. The saying that if you hang around a barber shop for too long, you get a
Yeah.
haircut, right? So
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so with that said, let's move on to the next part. So the next thing is getting started. All right, you have to start somewhere. All right, so the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step, and this step is crucial. Right.
Yep.
So So how do you get started? That's what we're going to discuss. So for us, well, I say for me, and especially for Melody, because I knew how it was. We actually didn't have a straight path because we didn't have an opportunity like this where people could share their experience with us. So we went through kind of a zigzag path, right? So I would start, and he will talk more on that. So we started doing something around building Windows. We started doing embedded system. Then we moved over to building Windows application. We started from C++, building with C++, building with C sharp. We didn't really have a direction as to where we're going, right? But now, since we're here and we're having something like this jam where we're discussing the tech journey, the best way to start is actually understanding where you fit in. Have a plan, all right? Because that will reduce the amount of extra time spent doing the things you're not supposed to do. Make your research. Make your research. It's really important. When persons comes to me and say, "Oh, I want to go into tech, and can you suggest a path to go?" I'm very reluctant because what I may like, it's likely not what you like. All right.
Right.
And in future, if you start facing troubles with that stuff, you'll be like, "Oh, this person suggested this to me and now it's giving me problem. All right, so you have to make your research, find what interests you. All right, ask questions, meet persons. Let's say you say, oh, I want to major in this area. Find people in that area and ask them questions. How did you navigate this path and all that? Ask questions. Nobody would be mad at you for asking questions. Be open, right? Meet people in that field and also perform your personal strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat analysis. That is, look at your strength in that given domain. Look at what your weakness is, the opportunities that are there. So, for instance, if somebody say, "Oh, I want to learn a particular tech framework, and I want to learn COBOL." COBOL is only used in enterprise systems that are legacy. So for you to get a job in COBOL, it's likely going to be more difficult compared to someone who is trying to get a job as a Python programmer, because COBOL is only used in legacy systems for enterprise. And most of those systems, they are gradually migrating them to a more recent programming language that is both memory efficient and all that. So that's one example. All right. So by applying SWOT analysis, you on your personal, on yourself, you'll be able to decide on, okay, is this am I having is that what's my strength here, what could be my weakness, what could be my opportunity, and what are the available opportunities, and what could be a threat for me. All right, so these steps are really important.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think Kelechi has said it all. When it comes to learning and understanding where you fit, making research is very crucial, right? I've had a lot of persons come meet me and be like, what should I learn? Right? And I'm like, go make a research. And they're like, okay, I'll go make the research. And they come back to me asking very questions that doing research would answer. And I'm
Yeah,
like, oh no, you've not actually made this research. Go make your research. And unfortunately, most of them quit. Like, they're like, okay, I'm. Let me just go out.
yeah,
But, it's very crucial to understand your strengths, your weakness, your opportunities and threats. What opportunities do I have in this? I want to learn Python. What can I do with Python? I want to learn JavaScript. What can I do with JavaScript? Someone may come. I want to learn Basic, but what can I do with Basic? You know, if you like Lechi said, if you learn COBOL, it's good, but if you don't understand the opportunities and threats, you know, at some point you get to that place where you're like you're exhausted, you're tired, maybe because there's no great community around Kobo, or probably
yeah,
because there's no great market there. There are no too many companies asking for Kobo. If you go on LinkedIn right now, how many jobs are saying Kobo, right? If you go on Indeed and all that, how many jobs are saying Kobo? So that's the level of research you will have to make, right? If you want to do your research, you have to do it with the concept of your SWOT, right? Your SWOT. When you perform that, you can come back to someone who, from what you think, okay, I think Python can get me to data analysis, can get me to machine learning and all that. Probably I should learn Python. Now you go meet people that are in the Python field. You talk with them. How did you get started? What are the contents I need? What are the articles I need to read? What are those contents I need to consume and order? Where can I get them and all that? When you talk to people of this of this field, you have a better path. And sometimes it's very crucial to still talk to people of that, meet people in that field, right? Imagine you want to learn Python and machine learning and all that, but you decide to go meet someone probably who is learning Elixir or who is an Elixir expert. You know, chances being that they will try to convince you to learn Elixir, and
yeah,
you know what you want, right? You know what you want. So stick to what you want, meet people of that field, right? Definitely expand your view, meet other people as well, interact with other persons as well, learn how other things are done in other places. But when you have an understanding of what you want, right, you're not easily shaken away from your path, right?
yeah, absolutely
So
correct. All right, so move. And then after understanding where you fit in, what works for you, and saying, okay, I think I'm going to be doing UI UX, or I'm going to be doing product management, or I'm going to be doing web development. Now is the time for you to actually make the commitment. This is the hardest part. The choice of what you want to do, well, So nothing. It doesn't really. It's just the first thing. You. It's just like you paying your tickets, and now it's there for you to enter the bus and drive, right? Going to your destination. So that's this part of making a commitment and sticking to it is where most persons they have spoken to persons who want to go in and they be like, oh, I think I want to do web development. I do know what I do. I first of all I go on YouTube and I get like a 2 hours video and I send it to them and they will remain in 2 hours video for the next 5 months, 6 months. And for me as a person, I give that video because I want to see how committed you can be. Can you finish a 2 hours video? And when you come, I'll ask you questions about that video and all that. So even the persons I teach and I mentor, what I do is I give you, I first of all, I try to put inside your head that this is not about somebody spoon feeding you. When it
Yeah.
comes to tech, anything related to tech, you have to own your own game. You have to say, oh, okay, today I'm going to sit in the house, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to get some results. There's no matter the distraction that comes, it could be from family members, from friends, could be calling you, come, let's go hang out and all that. Say, no, this is what I want. All right. So you have to make a commitment and you have to stick to it. And it's not a marathon, and it's a marathon rather, and not a sprint. Sprints are, very you need to run very fast to the end. Marathons are long. This is your career. It's actually going to take time to achieve. So you need to make some commitments, stick to it, and set small achievable goals, because when you set small achievable goals, your brain, you could see some form of progress. Let's say I want to do data science, for instance. Data science involves me understanding Python, understanding let's say SQL, understanding some Python packages like NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, and all that. All right. If I want to do that, I will set some small milestones, right? That it's achievable. I wouldn't set a milestone like I want to finish the entire Python. I want to understand Python completely, or I want to finish the entire course or something like that. I could set a milestone to say, okay, I want to understand the basics of Python. I want to understand, let's say, I want to understand how to do variables in Python. I want to understand how to the basic programming of Python. Then I'll go over to the next part. Now I want to be able to comfortably write Python, some basics of Python, to do some simple mathematical calculation. Then I'll go back to the next phase. Let's say I'm taking a course, and in that course, they're likely going to be doing like they're going to be giving you some assignments. You'll be seeing some persons coding some codes across. So when you take those assignments, those things, those tasks you're being given, if you're asked to do X, you can choose to do X plus Y. You'd see that your brain begins to see some form of, you begin to see some form of progress. Oh, well, during the assignment, I was given a task to do that should print X. Now I'm able to print X, and not just X. I'm able to print, let's say, a value from a variable. Right? I'm using Python as a case study here. So you have to be. What I'm trying to say in essence is you have to stay committed, and you have to also set goals that are achievable. Don't set something that is way too long. A goal should not take you more than let's say an achievable goal should not take you more than 2 weeks, or let's say a day to 2 weeks to complete. All right. So making a commitment and sticking to it, and also knowing that it's a marathon and not a sprint, and setting achievable goals. Those are some elements that keeps you moving.
Yeah. So I think on that level, understanding that it's a marathon is very crucial, right? You know, what I say to people who come to me with the idea of I want to learn tech, I want to learn this in tech, probably JavaScript, Python, and all that, right? And they start bringing, would it be up to 3 months to learn this, and or probably how long would it take me to learn this and all that? When they ask the question of how long, I'm like, well, if you are a Python engineer, if you're a software engineer, you're probably going to do it for the rest of your life. You're not going to switch tomorrow and be like, okay, I want to do carpentry or something else. Like you are going to be a software engineer for your life. So why are you in a rush? Like, it's something you're going to practice for the rest of your life. Why are you in a rush to like grab everything today? So setting achievable goals, like Alicia said, is very important and crucial. Understanding that this is something that you're going to do for the long run. You're going to do this almost for the rest of your life. Will give you that idea of, okay, this is where I'm at now. Let me do this, sequentially, so I get the hang of everything in this field. So today I'm going to learn variables. Probably today I'm going to learn how what Python is, how to use Python, how to install Python 3 into my system, how to use the Python environment variables and all that. Tomorrow I'm going to learn about variables initialization. Next, I'm going to learn about classes, what classes are. Now I need to know about functions. How do I use functions? How do I call them in Python? Next, I'm going to learn how to import functions from other files. Those are achievable chunks of let me say achievable chunks of expectations you could set for yourself, and you achieve them. When you achieve them, you could check them off. This is my to do. I have done this. I have done this. Now, when you learn those things, you want to carry them along to the next phase. Like you know how to initialize variables now. In your function, when you're writing your functions, you have to initialize these variables. But you have to carry them to the next phase. Don't just learn them and ditch them. Learn them, carry them, try to adopt them. You've learned how to use environment variables. Can you now adopt it in writing your code instead of writing raw secret keys and all that? Can you put them in environment variables and use them? Those will assist you, have these things stuck in you, and you
Yeah.
don't lose them over time.
Yeah, yeah. Just to add a bit to that. So one way, depending on your learning mechanism, some persons they choose to learn. Maybe you cannot afford a complex course that organizes stuff for you. So if you're learning, let's say, in an unorganized form, one way to go about, let's say you're learning on YouTube, is you go online, you browse. Let's say you want to learn Python, you browse the syllabus for Python, you will definitely see something that tells you, oh, this is what you learn next, this is what you learn next. You use that syllabus you get, that curriculum or something you get. Then you take one of them, put it, let's say you want to learn about the first thing item there is learning about this thing, um, declaring variables. You copy it and put on YouTube. You'd see a video that teaches you how to declare variables. That's one thing that could be your an achievable goal or a small milestone or something like that. And then once you do that, you check that out of your list and you continue all the way down. You're done with Python. When it comes to machine learning, sorry, when it comes to data science, the next thing to do is using that Python now with a package like NumPy. Then you go next, you start to learn how to use NumPy, pandas, and all the rest. We're just using these things here, this Python and the whole data science ecosystem as an example, but this is also applied to whatever thing you're learning. You could be doing project management, you could be doing UI, UX, web development, game development, and all that. These things, they have curriculum, they have learning paths, free, accessible to anyone on the internet. Okay, so the next part is don't feel, don't fall for the pressure. Rather, don't fall for the pressure. Now, all this is saying is most persons, I've seen persons who are like, I'm seeing this guy do this on social media. Like, this guy is now working for this company, and they will post, those guys will post that, look, I'm currently in Mexico now. I've got a job in Mexico, and you're like, this person, we're both and you're doing this together. It's not like that. Everybody has their own time and path. What you should be more focused on yourself. Don't let the pressure, when the pressure comes, you will be less organized. You see yourself learning things you're not supposed to, or let's say you're still yet to understand JavaScript, and you see, oh, this person got a job because he knows React, and you leave the JavaScript you're still yet to understand, and you jump over to do React. By the time you're learning React, you're having issues learning React, because learning React is pure JavaScript. So when you don't understand JavaScript and you jump into learning React, you're likely going to face trouble. So don't fall for the pressure. Relax, set milestones, follow them accordingly, and you see progress, right? So the thing is, you might lose touch with friends. That's okay, they'll come back. I lost a lot of friends. Like, well, I say I lost because they're still back and we're still talking. But because at that point in my career, I wanted to actually focus and get a part. I wanted to focus on myself and get what I wanted to do. So when they are calling, come out, let's hang out and all that. I'm like, okay, I'm not available, and they're like, oh, why you not available and all that. I said I'm not available and all that. I try to focus on myself. So all I'm trying to say here is don't fall for whatever peer pressure you're getting. Focus on yourself. Don't let money be a problem. Money is a problem in terms of trying to get data and all that. But if at least you can get the money to get your data and all that, don't let the fact that you're not being paid a huge amount, or you're not even being paid at all, don't let it stop you. Don't let it pressure you, right? Some persons, they want to get good gadgets, they want to get good phones and all that. That's all good, but in reality, it takes time and it takes some form of progress, right? It's when you get towards startup, then you start to receive you start to make more money from whatever value you're providing, then you can afford those things. But don't let it stop you from even getting towards the top, right? Tell yourself, okay, those things are good, but right now I'm just going to focus on myself. I know that I'm getting there someday, right? Don't let anxiety be a problem. Some persons, they suffer from anxiety a lot when, you're just, very anxious. You're finding it difficult to stay and focus on maybe a course. You hear a friend, this one is saying, what is currently in vogue now, what's currently common now is learning Laravel. You jump, you leave the let's say Node.js you're learning, and you go over to learn Laravel. So relax and have a path, follow your path. All right. That doesn't mean you would be you not take feedback. You take feedback, but before you implement those feedback, try to do extra assessments. Try to say, oh, is this feedback really valid in my own use, in my use case, right? That would make the path, that would make the process easy for you and more streamlined.
Yeah.
All right.
I think I totally
Yep.
agree with what Kelechi has said, right? And I think he has said it all. And I was laughing throughout the process because these are things that, either I have faced or people around me have actually faced. And,
Yeah.
it's easy to give up in the end. Right? There are a lot of persons who give up. And these key points, the money, the pairs, the anxiety, are things that can make you give up. Right? When you
Yeah.
come into tech and you've not made money for 2 years, like you're like, what am I doing here? You kick out,
Yeah.
and equally not being focused in terms of you're learning JavaScript today. Someone is telling you, I just got a job. I don't, when you go to LinkedIn, you're likely to get a heart attack or something. You just see
Yeah.
someone. I started learning Laravel 5 months ago or 3 months ago, and now I have a job working with, let's say Microsoft or something like that. And you're like, what am I doing in JavaScript? Like it skips to Laravel. Okay? You get there, you learn it for 5 months, 6 months, and there's no job coming. Like, what am I doing? And someone is like, data scientists are now the lead. Just learn Python. Python is not difficult. It's as simple as ABC. And you're like, oh, really? What can I do with Python? And someone is telling you that they are making $20,000 a month from learning Python, and you're like, oh, okay, Python is the lead, and you hop in there and you see that you're still not getting the job. It's
Yeah.
because you're not being consistent, right? Uh, I wouldn't want to attack people, but I think we have our different faiths. We have different moments where things work for us, and there are some persons as well who could come online and share their own story, which is good enough. Right? What I always tell myself is there is no way you're going to be very good at something. Like, let's say I know React. There's no way I will know React to the core. I could build anything in React, and I would not, make success in React. I wouldn't get a job in React. If I
Yeah.
make an interview, someone is going to see that I actually know this React a lot. I could do my good DOM manipulation with React. I could write optimized code with React. I could do anything with React, and someday, just someday, I'll get picked. So I'm not always in a hurry. And I think if you're not always in a hurry to make success in something, because these small steps, the process that you've learned to use effect today, you know how to use read effects, you know when to use effect, as opposed to using use memo or using use callback, is a success. You might not see that success, but it is a good success. There are persons who didn't learn use memo and and how to use callback, and they are just writing very memory inefficient code. So you're going to be that guy that comes in and rescues the team. So take your time, learn these things, be good at it. Right?
Yeah.
There's always a job out there for you. Sure.
Yeah. So the final, or one of the phases next is, after telling yourself, after understanding these things we've talked about, you go in and you're going to unlearn. If you've already learned before, you're going to learn and you're going to relearn. All right. As you're doing that, you'd have to like build projects, include building projects, especially when you're on the technical side. You have to build projects. Please don't take a course without building a project. And let's say you're on the technical side, as you take a course, build project, push them to GitHub. All right, you have to, because when you build projects, it's more like you on hands-on, doing hands-on, and you're now, um you're now like you're getting used to the process of actually, initializing a project, making the mistakes and correcting yourself and all that. So build project. Don't just watch online courses like it's a video. It's not a video. Build project. Also, take voluntary positions, which most likely they are free. I've taken a couple of voluntary roles. Like I'll just go and say it's free. You're not being paid. You go there and you build. Why am I doing that? I'm doing that because I want to learn. By building it, by, let's say, somebody coming and saying, "Oh, I need you to build an MVP." I build it. The person might not pay me. In fact, one of the first web project I did was with Python and Django. I did that project, and at the end of completing the project, after spending nights and nights, the person said, "Oh, look, I'm not going with this project again." Wow, I was so like, at the point where I started thinking about it. But what kept me going was because during while building that project, I learned a lot I couldn't have learned with just watching videos. Right. So build project, volunteer, also attend events. Attending events, I can hit on it every day. Wake me up from sleep. I can say attending events is very important. Why? Because when you attend events, you're more motivated. You meet persons who are doing these things. You see them, and let's say persons who are already working, and they tell you, "Oh well, I'm using React, and that's what we use in our company." You're more encouraged to say, "Oh, let me keep learning React." Or you see persons who comes, they give their talk and all that. All right. You also connect with them on personal grounds to say, "Oh, when you're blocked, you can go to this person and say, 'Oh, I'm having trouble setting up this. Can you help me?'" They'll help you. So you can only meet those persons because most persons are in their houses. You can only meet those persons when you come out. Right, I can share one of the stories. The first event I attended was actually a DevC event here in Port Harcourt, and by attending that event, that was the first time I had the opportunity to. After attending that event for a series of time, I later on had the opportunity to speak. And I'm a kind of a reserved person. I don't like coming out in public to talk, but I was forced to. Right, that opened up another area for me because when you speak at these events, you get to learn twice. Right, so you get to learn twice, and you're more encouraged to learning more because for you to prepare for an event, of course, you must know more about what you're about to talk about. The next thing is also join hackathons. Hackathons will expose you to, working in a team or trying to build an idea from scratch very quickly and all that. All right, write articles. Write articles. As you're writing articles, you're also documenting your process of learning. That is, you wrote an article on how to use this effect or how to use NumPy. While writing that article, you see yourself making more research as to understanding what NumPy is or whatever package, or maybe you wrote an article on project management or one particular feature in Figma, how they could do a particular thing in Figma, or how someone can maybe do some complex UI UX design or something like that. So you see yourself when doing those things, you get to learn more because, and also when you write this article, you get to post them on social media, which is the next part I'm to explain. It's utilizing social media. I do that a lot, right? So I'll post on my LinkedIn, I'll post on my Twitter. When you do that, especially LinkedIn, you'll see that when you apply for a job, most of the time your resume will be at your LinkedIn URL. And once an employer sees it, they will copy it and paste, and they want to see what you've been doing. They want to actually have build that confidence that you actually know what you're doing. So when they see that this person has written from 2019, this person has been writing article on this particular subject, and this is, let's say, this is 2024. That means I can bet he has been learning this and he can actually fill the role properly that I want. So utilizing writing article, utilizing social media, it's very important. When you write these articles and post, people will want to, connect with you. People will want to, recruiters will want to reach out to you and all that. And also you even make some money. Writing articles, you can post it if you're good at it. You can, as you become good at it, you can post it and you get paid. An article is close to like $100, right? So, or more, because the more technical your article is, or the more good your article is, you get paid more, or the more character, something like that. But you can make money from it. These things will encourage you to keep pushing. All right. So one thing I'm leaving you with is best known beats best. Bring yourself out there. Staying and dying in silence and saying, "Oh, I want to keep it to myself. I'm shy. I'm shy of getting criticized online." It's not going to help. It's better you come out, you make the mistake outside, and you people correct you, and you move on. You'll learn. right? And by doing that, you build the confidence, you become you build the confidence you need to move on, right? So it's important to know that best known beats best.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, we'll go over to the next one. All right, no rush. I think we've explained this a lot. We've said that consistency is very important. You want to have consistency over speed. All right, and then the roles in tech. Melody, do you mind taking this?
Yeah. So the roles in tech, there are so many roles in tech, right? They we have all these technical roles that could lead, and all these are very crucial. They are very important roles. So you can see that we have the web development roles and the likes of it. So if you're gravitating towards web development, you should be looking more into front end, back end, or probably full stack. For instance, I'm a very visual person, right? And I equally like logic, right? So I want to write the logic of whatever drives my software, you know. And I equally love aesthetics. So I used to be art inclined. I used to draw a lot and all that. So I had that visual, aesthetics thingy, and that made me want to do front end. But then I saw for the time, I had cases where I wanted to equally write softwares to propel whatever I'm writing, right?
Yeah.
My front end and all that. So I equally practice back end, and that's very good, right? It could be front end and all front end, you know, as long as you have that strong understanding on that front end built on it, it's very good. Just equally game development, game development, what are those things you can learn in game development? You could be an animator, you could be a programmer, right? You could write programs to drive games and all that. You could do animations with game development. There's designs, there's UI UX design, there's product design. So these are things or roles you could fill. And as a beginner, it's left for you to make research on these. What qualifies my person best, right? Where do I have strength in this? Where would I find interest? When you want to venture into a technical role, you have to find an area of interest so that you don't easily get bored, right? For instance, in as much as I love aesthetics, I think I'll get bored if I practice UI UX, right? Because I want logic. Drag me out tomorrow, next tomorrow. I want to write logic, right? So when I'm drawing lines and doing designs and doing complex graphics, it still doesn't make me a fulfilled person in that sense. So I'm likely not to show interest in that as opposed to seeing that I could actually build the next generation software that interacts in a crazy way. So there's product management, managerial roles, there's product management, there's you could be a scrum master if you're working with the, let's say, the agile methodology and all that. Yeah, you could be a scrum master, you could be a product manager, right? And all these are very good managerial roles. You could even be a production manager, right? And as a production manager, you're likely to have some level of technical, knowledge, like how to write some basic scripts and all that, and deploy and all that. And these are roles that companies need. Like all these roles are highly, needed in the market. If you go out in the market today, search for any of these roles. Companies are looking for people, UI UX designers. If you want to build any software, you need a UI UX designer to design something. You need a UX. You need a user experience. How is this going? How is this user going to access this feature with ease without searching my entire screen to look for it and all that? So these are very crucial roles. And of course, there are others. There's data science and data science. There's machine learning and artificial intelligence. There's data analytics, which is another crucial one. I actually have a friend who is a data analyst, and she's doing very well. And until you understand what these roles solve, you think some of them are so not important, but they are very important and they are very crucial. Like there's a lot in data analysis. Like, if you look at a data analysis, present data to you, right? You would definitely want more in all your presentations and all that. So it's very crucial, and it helps you understand a lot of this. There's DevOps, site reliability engineering and system administrator. There's cloud engineering, mobile development, which is like everybody uses a phone today, right? So being a mobile developer is a good one, right? And it's a market that is very lucrative. If you're a good mobile developer, there's something out there for you. You just have to perform your SWOT analysis and research and know what suits you better. Would I end up developing for iOS? Would I end up developing for Android? What does the future hold? Right? You have to know the current market. There's this idea around tech that everything you know likely expires in 5 years. So if you know something right now and you're not updating yourself, likely in 5 years, that knowledge is likely expired. Right? And take a look at it. Most of the libraries or technologies that have been existing, that were very hot 5 years ago or thereabouts, you know, they are like, gaining lesser interest now. So you definitely need to update yourself on that. There's quality assurance testing. This is something that companies need a lot. I do a lot of QA myself, and I would tell you this: quality assurance testing is very, very lucrative job, right? It's not as simple as trying to search for bug. It's very lucrative, right? And that's something you could venture into if you feel, well, I don't want to write too much code. You could venture into quality assurance testing and all that. And of course, there's part of QA that allows you write code as well. You have to write different test cases for different scenarios, end-to-end test and all that. Cybersecurity, and there is technical writing, which are very, very crucial roles, right? And all these are things that you could learn. You know, these are roles that are currently in the market and hot ones, right? These are things that you could learn, you could start learning today, and over time you build a career of it. Right? These are options you could start making research on. What does front end engineering give, or what does front end development give? What does programming with game development give? What does UI UX give, and all that? Yeah.
Wow, cool. I think Melody gave very wonderful explanation that I'm also benefiting from. Right. So finally, we have the non-technical roles.
And of course, there are non-technical roles as well. When you look at tech, there are technical roles that requires you doing crazy technical things, and you could equally be in a technology field and practice non-technical roles. And that doesn't make it less important. When you say non-technical, don't attribute it to less important. I
Yeah.
guess, for instance, there's developers relations, right? This is a non-technical rule. If you feel this is what suits me best, right? I have that. Especially when you have, that relationship, human relationship, and all that, you want to gravitate towards this. There's management. You could be a community manager, manage different communities and all that. I think I know quite a lot of community managers, and they do a very great job. So these are non-technical roles as well in tech. It's customer support. Those guys are doing awesome. Right? Sometimes you call a customer support and you're like losing your mind, and they have this way of telling you that everything is okay, you get it resolved and all that. If you've been a software engineer, probably in a startup, probably at some point you might have done customer support, and you see it's not an easy one, but it's a well. I think it's an interesting one, and it's worth it, right? There's public relations, social media management. These are non-technical roles that social media management, for instance, is the world has gone almost social media, right? So if you have, that management skill in social media, what content to post, when to post it, how to schedule things and all that, I think you're up there, right? You're up there. You're helping companies promote their business and all that. You're helping companies sell it. There's this account on TikTok I follow, right? All they do is post software jokes. And I think so. Someone asked, why do you post software jokes? Shouldn't you be advertising your company product and all that? And they're like, well, if we post these software jokes, especially these technical jokes, right? One day you're gonna be like, this this account is so interesting. Let me check them out and see what they do. Let me see the source of this. And probably someday you're going to like look into their bio, you're going to click a link that takes you to their site, you're going to look at what they do. And probably not that day, probably not the next, but you patronize them someday. But you tell someone, someone told me that there's this funny account, that will help you relieve you from your development stress that relates to what you go through every day. And I follow the account, and ever since I'm like hungry looking for contents from that account and all that. So these are what social media managers do. Right? This is how they target people. They win their hearts, and over time, if I have a problem, and I know that this company offers that solution, I'm more likely to gravitate to that company because I know them, right? They've built that relationship with me without even knowing. They've gained my interest, and I'm likely to trust them because, well, the guy who is always making these jokes and all that, like I have that trust with this person. This guy, it's just this guy, right? And all that. So this is what social media managers do, and it's a very interesting one. They could help you, scale your companies and all that. And there are virtual assistants as well. So these are non-technical roles that you could decide to venture in. And of course, you have to do your research. What suits you best? What are the qualities you have already that could actually accommodate this?
Yep. Sounds good. So let's move on to the next. So where to learn? I didn't really realize 1 hour is such a short time. It's actually a short time.
Yeah,
We just started
yeah,
talking. But anyways, because of time, we're just going to a bit past. So now you've decided on what to learn. We've talked about how to go about keeping yourself afloat. So the next is where to learn. Where do you learn? Online or training institution. So depending on your location, you could want to go to a training institution close to you and all that. But me, I actually didn't actually do much of go much of a training institution route. I had to do all my courses, everything online. So using things like Udemy, Udacity, Coursera, LinkedIn, Open Classroom, EDX, YouTube, Pluralsight. There are a lot. I feel like you can actually learn anything software online. Like there are a lot of places to learn online, depending on your budget. If you have the money, if you don't, then you could go towards the let's say unstructured learning part, which is going through YouTube and trying to go through articles and all that. The only challenge with that is you might have to organize your learning yourself. But when it comes to these courses like Udacity, Open Classroom, Plural Sites, they already do the organizing for you. You just need to go through the course and then you pay and all that. So they also have free courses as well. So depending on your budget and what you have, you can, start with YouTube and then move over to taking paying for these courses. Me, I started with YouTube because of course then I wasn't able to pay. So started with YouTube, and then from YouTube, I was able to learn, and then from learning, I was able to start building, contributing value to maybe an entity like a company or a person's project, and from the proceeds or from the money I make, I use that to like pay for courses on Udacity or whatever platform. So depending on what works for you, if you have the large sum of money to pay for the online courses, the one that are structured, you can pay. If not, you can go with unstructured learning from YouTube, right? So there's always a place for everyone. Okay, so the next part is now we're informing you shouldn't just take courses. As you're taking those courses, don't watch it like it's a film. I see most persons, I'll give them video to watch and they'll be like, they will be on their phone and they are not with their laptop. I eventually told someone I gave a video to watch and said, I don't want to see you opening this video on your phone again. Open it on your laptop. Have that mindset that you're in a classroom and you're studying. Don't open this on your phone because you'll be distracted from messages from WhatsApp and all that. Literally, even me that I'm already at that point where I can hardly get distracted. I still get distracted. Sometimes I take my phone and I send my phone very far from me. So I don't get to want to open the phone and all that. So don't just learn, take courses or learn, watch whatever video on YouTube. As you watch those things, have a writing, write them out in a piece of paper or something like that, or document them in your laptop. Try to build projects using those stuff you've learned. This way you understand it better. All right. Next, you have to ensure the materials are current. You shouldn't go and be learning with an outdated material. Ensure that the materials are current. How do you know if the materials are current? When you start to learn, when you're on a particular, let's say you're using something like a package, you want to go online and Google and check the current version of that package. All right. Make sure that whatever you're using to learn, it's current. All right. You have to Google, you have to make research to make sure it's current. I feel like if you're taking courses from, okay, if you're watching a YouTube video, check the date the video was posted. If it was posted, let's say 5 years back, then there are high chances that that thing is not as current as it's supposed to be. All right. So you want to check the videos and see the ones that are more recent and watch those ones first. Then you can skip back to, okay, if you really want to watch, you can watch the older ones. All right. If you're taking courses online, like from Udemy, you want to check the dates that course was last updated at. I do that a lot. When was it last updated at? If it's 5 years back, no. I'm looking for the ones that are of recent, that are more recent. All right. As well as reading article. If I'm reading an article, I want to make sure that, okay, that article was last edited at what date? At least 2 years back. If it's more than 5 years, then there is a problem. I might look for something more current. And also with the use of AIs like ChatGPT and all the rest, you can actually get answers. You can get results for whatever you want. In fact, this period, I feel like it's even more easier for those coming on because you can just type your problems on ChatGPT or whatever AI platform you're using, and you get answers. Okay, so the next part, which is the final part, is what to expect in. Okay, what to expect in 2024. Melody.
Yep. I think you've already made an inference on that. Just AI now, and a lot of companies are using generative AI. Right? There's there's a lot of things that are powered with AI, artificial intelligence, and even machine learning and all that. So going 2024, a lot of things are out there for you. You can get knowledge from ChatGPT literally, right? You can go to Google Bard and type in something there. It's going to go ahead, solve the web, grab information for you, put it out for you. So in all your knowing, in your learning process, you want to have this ability to use AI to some extent, right? For instance, I use Copilot, right? And Copilot assists. There are sometimes I want to write a function and it's just so long, and I type in the name of the function. Copilot suggests what I want to write. I put in, I hit an enter. I'm able to edit it. What do I need to edit here? Okay, I want this to be this. This is not really what I want. I think leveraging on AI and information like things like that, tools like that would help you. There are a lot of tools. There's ChatGPT, which I use. I actually use these ones to solve a very complex issue. So in my organization once, where I had this I just wanted to visualize the data. So I gave it the data structure. I said, generate this thing, write a code for me to generate this in this pattern. It was able to compute that, generate that for me. I was just able to edit a couple of things. I went to this online editor, put it in there, run the code. I was able to visualize what I wanted to see, and I was able to determine, the feature I wanted to write and all that. So these are things you want to leverage. You want to leverage on AI because AI has come today and it's not going anytime soon. Life, we want to make life easier for everyone. We want a situation where we don't have to do all the heavy lifting ourselves. So if you're able to leverage on AI today, and it's not rocket science, right? It's just going to Copilot, learn, just typing things, learning to use Copilot and all that, doing some research, going to ChatGPT, sorry, going to ChatGPT, typing, using that, and doing some research around that, and with that you get the hang of it. Don't feel like using Copilot is like I don't know what I'm doing. But of course, if you're learning as well, you want to make sure you have the in-depth understanding of a lot of things before you start generating answers for yourself. Right?
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
if you're learning, if you're a total beginner, you don't want to hop in and
yeah,
start like write me this function and that. No,
yeah,
take away ChatGPT, take away Copilot. Let's say we go all caveman, right? Can you
yeah,
still write code? So you want to
yeah.
be able to still write code and know your onion. Right? I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah,
a
I think
good.
I like that last part. The fact that if you're learning, you don't want to, I mean, let all your development process not rely on AI because during the interview, you will not be using AI. So when you understand the structure of what you're doing, the AI is like a companion there. It just gives you, makes it easy for you to just get something out. And then you have to, compose it in a way that suits your need, all right, whatever you're building. So use AI as a companion, not solely depending on it for everything. All right, so I think Melody has explained that, and now if we're on the final slide. So what we're saying is, with all these things said, all right, within the raw essence of your being, you are both the uncarved marble and a skilled sculptor. Every chisel of choice shapes the masterpiece of your existence. All right. Now, what we're saying is, you and only you and your choices, you're able to decide what you'll become, what results you get. All right. So, and I think
Yeah.
that's it for me. Melody, I know you have something to say. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this quote really gets to me, and it makes you understand that your future is in your hand, right? You can decide that I want to go this path, I want to be this person, and you have to work it out. So when you make decisions, you have to put the work in yourself, you alone, not me, not Oliver, not some instructor on YouTube. Nobody would spoon feed you. Even when you buy a course from Udemy, your instructor will still not, force that course down your throat and force you to take that course or something. You have to yourself, tell yourself it's time to learn. I have a 9 a.m. time to learn time scheduled on my device. So every time it's 9 a.m., I know it's time to learn. I toss my phone away and I have to learn. And so you can employ that on yourself, and you make commitments yourself that help you grow. Nobody is responsible for you to grow. It is your
Yeah.
responsibility to grow and your responsibility alone. Yeah.
Yeah, guys, I think that's it. Compliments of the season and Happy New Year from Coach Jam.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, guys. We are really excited to share these last few days of the year with you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. We wish we had that, that stuff, but we don't. So, yeah, Happy New Year, guys. Bye.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Yeah, bye.